Hi, my name is Rachel Schrock, and I am doing my speech over why the death penalty should not be legalized. In the next 5 minutes, I will attempt to address the counterargument of those who agree with the death penalty, and I will give my argument of why it should not be legalized. Those who are in favor of the death penalty often argue that those who have committed serious crimes should pay a serious price: death. My argument against this includes 4 key parts. Oftentimes, those that have been sentenced to death row come from lower income communities where crime is high. In these lower income communities, there are often many people of color. People of color have been discriminated against in the court systems for years and continue to be to this day. Those in lower income communities often don't have access or the funds to a good lawyer, leaving them usually with a public defender or someone who does not know the law as well as a seasoned attorney, which can result in inadequate defense, which is against people's natural born rights. My last key point of the argument is that people can lie under oath in court. When people choose to lie, it puts those who may be innocent in a position of being proven guilty. The second argument that some use for the death penalty is the idea that it brings justice. I believe this argument is flawed for a couple of reasons. Family members of a person who has been murdered do not want to witness another person being murdered. The trauma they go through losing one person is bad enough, and to have someone else's death on their conscience can affect the grieving process. Another key point is that those who have committed a serious enough crime to be put on death row would usually serve 60 to 70 years in prison. By being on death row, it cuts their time in prison down to 20 years or less, and allows them to not truly understand the consequences of their actions. The next argument that some people make is that it deters crime. This is in fact not true because those who want to murder do not care if they are sentenced to death. In fact, many killers know that this is the eventual punishment of someone who kills. The only thing that is a deterrent is those who normally would not commit murder in the first place, so inherently it is useless. In many articles, it has been proven that states without the death penalty have a lower murder rate than states that practice the death penalty. All in all, it comes down to those who want to murder will murder without the fear of consequences. The last and final point of my argument is the question of innocence. Innocent people are killed far too often on death row. Since 1973, over 156 people have been released from death row in the United States. That's 156 false accusations and mistakes that could have resulted in another innocent person's death. From an ethical stance, this is morally wrong because you cannot take the risk of killing someone without clear evidence that they have committed a crime that deserves the punishment of death. Once you have killed someone, there is no way to undo it later if more evidence resurfaces. Another part of this argument is the fact that the death penalty is costly. It is more expensive to put someone on death row than it is for them to serve life in prison. The difference in cost could be used in better ways that can affect the inmate and everyone involved in a more positive way. To sum everything up, the death penalty is no longer feasible in practice. It can be cruel and unusual. It is not always accurate, and those that are put on death row often don't serve the time to grant the justice to families that need it. These are all arguments of why I do not believe the death penalty should be legalized.